Yeah. It's 4 o'clock in the Eastern time zone. It's time to go live. So I'm just grooving here a little bit while I'm waiting for everybody to come on into the show. Got a stream going out to the internet, to the whole world. We're live on the Sean Ward Show YouTube. We're live on the Sean Ward Show Facebook. And we're live in your heart. The best place of all to be live is in your heart. Now check this out, ladies and gentlemen. We got a lot to talk about today. The Snyder Cut, the movie. We got some updates for you. You're going to get your first look at Cas Lyon's work on the art. You're going to get your first peek at what's going on for our next 4 videos on the Sean Ward Show. You're going to get to have your voice heard and vote for the next topic when we do the next video for the Sean Ward Electric Comics Freakout. That's all coming up. And with that, it's time to run the intro.
Let's go!
At the age of 6, mega superhero fan Sean Ward was hit with a thunderbolt of truth. Grown-ups are idiots figuring things out no different than kids are. A revelation inspired by his villainous grade 1 teacher. Years later, with his childhood dreams all but dead, Sean found himself dialing for dollars with no hope in sight. He decided then and there, it was time to make a change.
So it's making the proclamation, you know what, if I'm going to be a famous comic book creator, if I'm going to be a famous entertainer someday, then I have to be a famous entertainer today, rather than puttering about and hoping that the rest of the world gives me permission.
Now, Sean is revolutionizing social media through fun and wacky superhero videos, bursting past 3 million subscribers and flirting with 1 billion views. He is rivaling the numbers of the likes of Will Smith and The Breakfast Club. Ladies and gentlemen, Super Sean Ward.
Yo, oh, wrong screen. Here we go. Here's me. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It is Monday. It is just after 4 o'clock and we are live. I am Sean and I'm coming to you live from a secret underground location high in the sky above Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And we have come to what lately has been my favorite part of the whole week, which is getting together, doing this live show, hearing from you guys in the live chat, and talking about all of the upcoming things that we're obsessed about, from movies to comics to pop culture, and even and especially some cool things that we have got going on over here at the Sean Ward Show studio. The biggest one, of course, as you know, is that I got to keep running over there to refresh this so it doesn't power off. I thought I solved that. But hey, that's a great time to let you know that this is a beta test. This is not fully the real show yet. I'm still working out the kinks on this live broadcast. But I am taking the opportunity to use this weekly live broadcast as a bit of a production journal and to keep you updated about the goings on with regard to the biggest project I've ever taken on. It's so mammoth. And every time I think I know how big it's going to be, it unfolds new facets to it. And it's insane. It's going to be a lot of fun. That is the Snyder Cut, the movie. And I'm going to be telling you all about that very soon, as well as giving you your very first look at the art by Cas Lyon as she's developing what the characters are going to look like. Things are trucking along beautifully with that. I'm also going to catch you up on the next 4 videos that we got coming out here on the Sean Ward Show, our weekly superhero parody videos, the Marvel and DC parody videos that you love so much, including some original characters that we're really looking forward to all of you out there getting behind and getting with and cheering for and dare to dream one day wearing t-shirts of and displaying action figures on your shelf. Wouldn't that be awesome? Let me see what else have we got cooked up for you today. We're going to be talking about, you're going to have your say and vote for the next art video that I'm going to do, the next installment of the Sean Ward Electric Comics Freakout on the YouTube channel. And before we get into any or all of that, I want to jump in real quick to the chat and see what people are saying. Abigail Howard is saying, hi, Sean, and hello to you. What's up? Oh, I like this one. Underground Gaming. You're so cool. I will take it. Thank you. Steve Morales is back. He's a regular and he's in the chat. You want to get your comment live on screen? Just jump into the chat on YouTube or Facebook. We are live in both places right now, and you can take part. Here's a question: are you going to play Superman in Justice League, Zack Snyder? Yes, I am. But remember that it's a voice because that is going to be an animation project. This is an animated film that we're working on. Hence why you're going to see an exclusive sneak peek at some art coming up in this broadcast. So stick around for that. It's perfect. What else is there to say? Thank you so much for joining us, hanging out. We got another one. It's perfect. I'll take that. You guys are awesome. What does the Martian Manhunter costume look like? I wish I had a Martian Manhunter costume. That'd be awesome. Let's see. You getting the stream okay? That's all good. How was your weekend? Celebrating my friend of the bachelorette party. That sounds wild. You can tell everybody all about it in the chat. Look at this. Hello from Russia. Thomas Schoss, all the way from, is that fair to call it the other side of the world? I'm in Toronto, Canada. I guess you would need to be in the southern hemisphere for it to legit be the other side of the world. But you get what I'm saying. A very, very far off locale. Thank you so much for joining us today. That is awesome. And is he going to start or what? Underground Gaming? We're here. We got it going on. I'm here for you. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so with that, we are going to get into the first topic for today, and that is that I would love for you to become a Sean Wardian. You can do this on Patreon, or you can do it by clicking the join button right here on YouTube. But the whole reason why I bring this up and why I'm so excited for this whole Sean Wardian membership program thing is because we're taking it back to the old school. I'm taking it back to my roots when I used to make my own comic books and go out on the street and sell them to strangers, right? Having the physical art object to put in people's hands and know that they've got it at home, to know that they're going to leave it out on their coffee table for their friends to pick it up when they come over and go, oh, qu'est-ce que c'est? What is this, right? Maybe not having people over so frequently during COVID times, but hey, put on your Instagram story and whatnot. So if you become a member, you will submit your physical address. And in addition to all the digital rewards that are outlined right there, when you click join or check it out on the Patreon, in addition to all the awesome digital rewards, you're going to get my, where is it? Boom, my Sean Wardian members only VIP exclusive art magazine. You're looking at the cover right now to the spring 2021 issue, which was issue number 1. And the summer issue is going to be coming out in June. So that's basically right around the corner. And in fact, I had better hurry up and start putting those pages together. Like, I know what art is going to go in it, but I got to hurry up and put that together for you so you can get it in June for all the members out there. So this magazine is, I need to set up a second camera. That'll be in the real version, right? Right now we're beta testing this whole concept. I just smacked the microphone. I apologize. But yeah, it's art from my sketchbooks, stuff that no one was ever supposed to see, behind the scenes of certain YouTube videos, little ideas, some handwritten letters and notes from me on the inside, front and back covers, and a lot of great stuff. Plus an assortment of stickers, including the brand new stickers we just got. And these are the stickers that if you watched last week's live stream, then you saw these are the brand new stickers that we would love to include when we send you your copy of the art magazine as a member. You're entitled to it. That's your membership bonus, and we can't get it to you. Okay, now with that said, the next thing we want to talk about is this right here. Snyder Cut, the movie. This is the week 3 update. So week 2's up. No, because we did week 0. This is week 2 because we started out on week 0 because that was just when we were kicking off the whole thing. Okay, so this is the week 2 update, and in the week 2 update, we the script is still getting tweaked, but the big thing that we moved forward on was the art. So right now, call your mom, call your relatives, anybody who you know who's a big Zack Snyder fan. Make sure you holler at them and tell them to get in this live stream right now because we're about to reveal some of the first look art. So Cas Lyon, who is working on this film with me, she is doing the art and the animation for this project. She's been working on the likenesses, and I'm so impressed by what she's got so far that we're going to show you some right now. Before I show them to you, I got to tell you, these are not like the finished designs. This is just her like workshopping the look, but I'm starting to see it come together, and I wanted to show it to you because the whole point of doing this weekly production update live stream thing is so that I can bring you along for the whole process and you can see how we do it. So here you go from the sketchbook files. Boom, there's Zack Snyder. That is, I love the top one that says, that one makes me laugh. Here's David Ayer, writer, director of Suicide Squad. She's doing a great job with this. Cass is. Here's Joss Whedon. If you couldn't tell that we were playing him as a villain in this piece, then you should be able to from looking at this. And then finally, Jeff Johns is another character in this film. So you're going to get ready to see all of those. We'll show it to you one more time. There's her work on Zack Snyder. This isn't even all of it. I'm just showing you like a tiny, tiny little selection. There's her first go at Zack Snyder. Here's her first go at David Ayer, writer, director of Suicide Squad. One more time. There you go. There's how Joss Whedon is looking so far. And there's her take on Jeff Johns. It's funny as we go and develop this project, because I'm trying really hard to reach out to members of like the Release the Snyder Cut movement and different people in far-flung places on the internet like that. And it's interesting, like, who I'm able to talk to, who hasn't written me back, who says they want to talk to me but just can't nail down a date. But yeah, it's funny. Still kind of doing research as the writing commences. And it's funny how like this is going to be a process of adding to the story and still working things out. I'm sure all the way up to and including carrying out the final art. Like, for example, the whole Release the Snyder, how we want to represent the time span of the Release the Snyder Cut hashtag movement. Like, I've changed my mind about how that looks so many times already. And it's quite a process to discover just how big this project is. We're looking at it being about a 30 or 40-minute animated project by the time this is all done. And I have no idea how long it's going to take, because at one point I thought we could have it done from like writing, drawing, animation, everything in 5 weeks. And we're now on week 3 of that process. So obviously that's not going to happen. The dream at this point is that we could get this thing out in time for the release of the movie, The Suicide Squad, in August, because I think there's going to be a lot more talk there about the Snyder Cut and how that dovetails into Release the Ayer Cut, and our movie kind of, you know, touches on this area where those stories are intermingled. It's all kind of one big story. So this movie's going to pick up, it's going to begin rather with Man of Steel being worked on. So you got Zack Snyder working on that Man of Steel, and then he gets offered the job of building out the universe of DC Comics in the movies. And it's the studio that has the idea to run in guns blazing, Batman v Superman, Justice League immediately following, and we'll just announce it all and get working on it right now. And then the whole thing about Batman vs Superman coming out, and Zack Snyder's already working on Justice League by the time Batman vs Superman comes out, and the studio isn't too thrilled with the reception to it, like all that kind of stuff. And then the screwing him around that goes on around trying to sneak in this other director, Zack Snyder, promoting Jeff Johns so that he can basically keep tabs on Zack Snyder. Then Jeff Johns bringing in Joss Whedon to try to, you know, throw ideas in and have some influence on the film. And then how they used Zack Snyder's personal tragedy as an excuse to get him to step away. This is all the stuff that you're going to see us representing in epic cartoon form. Like, what happened in real life is so unbelievable that you have to do it as a cartoon in order to get the whole idea across. You know what I mean? And like, you know, maybe one day we'll do it as live action. Now, while we're chitting and chatting here, one thing that I don't mind telling you about is that the whole reason about, I shouldn't say the reason, but part of the reason to do this whole animated Zack Snyder thing. Well, for one, doing it animated is what lets us address the fact that it's COVID lockdowns. I live up in the province of Ontario in Canada, which, as I understand it, is one of 3 places in the whole planet that still has the level of lockdowns going on that we do. And B, is the single place on the entire planet that has had the strictest lockdowns in place the longest. So while Joe Biden is going on TV in the United States and saying, hey, if you've gotten the jab, you can take your mask off, we're up here still under a stay-at-home order. So doing a whole thing that involves a giant cast and costume fittings and multiple days, maybe even weeks of production and a whole big crew, that'd be difficult to say the least. So we're doing it animated as a way to circumvent that difficulty that we're facing, but also because, like I said, I used to make my comic books and sell them on Queen Street, down here in Toronto. I'd make my own comic books, go do it on the self-serve photocopier at Staples, staple, fold, go down with my like 50 or 100 copies and go up and down the street. Hey, you want to buy a comic book? Hey, yeah, you want to buy a comic book? Like day in and day out. So to do this as an animated film, also because of the style that we're doing it in, means that we can take the art and also have a companion graphic novel project. And that, when the time is right and we launch a Kickstarter campaign or an Indiegogo, a crowdfunding campaign, that's when you're going to be able to get both. So you can back the creation of the film and get the graphic novel as like, how you back the whole thing, so that the film and the graphic novel go together. And it's the people who have got both that are getting the full experience. We've also got some insane stretch goals in mind for this campaign. The one that I'm most excited for would be like the ultimate one. So we've got a series of them, right, that go from 40,000, because the goal for the campaign, I think right now in my head, it's going to be $20,000. Then we'll have stretch goals at increments all the way up to like 40, 60, 80, 100,000. And the stretch goal for 100,000 at this stage is a Zack Snyder action figure based on his appearance in the cartoon and the graphic novel that we're making. And wouldn't that just be such a awesome way for me to kick off, I don't even want to say a new career, but like a section of my career? Because I've always seen myself not as a YouTuber or as a video artist or anything like that, but I've always seen myself as more of a pop artist. And, I see myself more in the mode of like Andy Warhol and some of these 60s kind of figures, how it's like the approach to the work and the life you lead as an artist is really the work of art, and all the other stuff is like the souvenirs of it, if that makes any sense. But like I said, I just miss having the tactile thing. And so that's why I do the members only magazine. And that's why I want this graphic novel to exist. And then also dare to dream that once we get this film done, if it's even a fraction as good as we think it's going to be, whether we naively hope it's going to be, then it's a calling card that we can then use to take and do other things. So you've heard me say, if you've been following me for any amount of time, you've heard me say, like in interviews and stuff, about how I made the jump into being an artist in the first place. I didn't go to college or university. I have no training, no financial backing, nothing. Like I'm full on like white trash, wrong side of the tracks. That's how I grew up, right? So I was at a telemarketing job one day when I just realized that the track that I was on did not lead to the place that I always said I was going in life, where I was going to be this like artist and filmmaker, this pop artist I'm talking about, right? So I just stopped showing up to work to immediately get to work, honing my craft. Through coincidence, I started getting illustration gigs right around the time that I kicked that job to the curb. Then I started going out and selling my comic books on the street and all that kind of thing. But the idea was always to build it up to where I could do like feature films, right? To make those kind of epic scale cultural products is the only way that I could put it. And so I'm having another moment like the one that I had at the telemarketing place, where I'm realizing that I've got lost time to make up for. And so like I've been studying lately Quentin Tarantino, big, huge influence on my thinking and approach to art. In fact, when I was really, really young and knowing about him and watching his movies, but well before I was old enough to be watching his movies, but I've always been the kind of kid that it's not enough to, watch something that's popular, especially if it's based on like pre-existing IP, right? So as an example, when the Batman movies were happening, like the 90s ones, it wasn't enough to just go with everybody when they're excited to go to the Batman movie. I got to watch all the ones that came before. I got to get knowledgeable about everything I can find out about the production and development of the old 1940s ones, the 60s ones, right? That's always the way that I've been. And it's the same thing now. It was the same thing back then. That when I got into Quentin Tarantino, I had to learn everything I could. And so when I discovered that he did not go to film school, or I don't even know if he graduated high school, but that whole thing that he was able to achieve what he achieved without having gone to film school, and his whole big thing in lots of interviews where he says, take the money you would have spent on film school tuition, instead go make a film. And that really stuck with me. So that's kind of the ethos that I've had. But he was also talking about, he wanted to make his first film before he was 30. And that's when he made Reservoir Dogs. And like it all stumbled out from there. And so here I am, having done a lot of really, really cool stuff with my art and with my career, but still like questing after like more, questing after these unfulfilled things on my, lifelong to-do list. And these things that if I don't do it, or I don't at least take an honest stab at it, then I'll just be one of those what ifs, for the rest of my life. So we've done this whole thing. We're with YouTube, and we kind of went to the top of the mountain and got a real cool view with the landscape. COVID came along, and the lockdowns and the changes in viewership patterns sort of affected us in a big way. And I've said this before, that like all the stuff that we thought we were going to be doing in 2020 all just basically got wiped out. And so 2020 in a big way, at the beginning of the lockdowns and pandemic and whatnot, was mostly about trying to figure out like how we could still make stuff while we wait for everything to get back to normal. So it's only like earlier this year, just a couple months ago, in the last handful of weeks, that I said, let's just treat it like it's never coming back. And those things that I thought I was going to do going into 2020 that were going to, advance the plot, figure none of them are ever going to happen. Now, what are you going to do? And so that sort of set me free and got me thinking about all of these other things that I want to do. And so I've got the next movie that I want to make, like my first actual like feature. I don't know if it's gonna be my first feature, but like the feature that I'm like questing after making at this stage is a period piece, but it's anachronistic, so you don't actually quite know when it happens, because you could say it's the 60s, but there's going to be stuff in it that like technology and whatnot, so like how can it be the 60s? But to do this like hyper stylized version of Jack Kirby and Stan Lee and the origin of Marvel Comics and the rivalry with DC back in those days, to do that story as like a gangster movie, or maybe even I don't even want to call it a spoof gangster movie, because it's not going to be like a spoof. Like it's not going to be like that kind of like Will Ferrell movie kind of funny. It's going to treat it seriously, but it's going to basically extrapolate the stakes of that story a lot higher, turn the stakes of the comic book business into life and death, and see how that plays out. So I've got a wall in the dressing room here. The dressing room used to be the editing station. And so there's a wall in the dressing room here that is still, since like last year, covered in all of my Post-it notes and the whole, where I'm building out like the movie story, the screen story, right? Like I showed you the last week when I was showing you this little section of the beat board for my Snyder Cut movie, right? That was just like a peek at the kind of thing I'm talking about. So those Post-it notes that you just saw, imagine those just like absolutely everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I'm being a little bit long-winded here, but I'm really trying to like give you the whole full dump of like where I'm coming from and what's going on with this. So this Snyder Cut animated film is supposed to be a thing that we can do to show off what we can do to take it to be able to make this Stan Lee and Jack Kirby biopic. And then that is to set up me being able to do this movie that I've always had in my head as like what my comics and live performances and all that kind of stuff, like way back in the day, where that was all supposed to go and where it was all supposed to be leading to, was this movie about a character based on me as the young street artist, and this whole thing about like him in like the cartoon world of his comics, as well as the real world that he inhabits and the challenges of trying to make it as an artist. And fucking thing. And like where that line is, like where does the real world end and the world of the imagination begin, and how that line blurs for this artist character. That's the movie I've been like dreaming of making like all this time, ever since I first was like drawing comics in high school. Right. So it's just a big thing of realizing that like Hollywood's never gonna, at this point, I've been doing this long enough, that if Hollywood was gonna be ever call and say, hey, we've seen your YouTube videos, we think what you're doing is great, we want you to direct Ant-Man. Like, for example, if that was ever gonna happen, it would have already, right? Or I got to treat it like that anyway, because the thing then becomes, okay, if you want it to happen, now what have I got to do to step up and make it happen? I think I was talking about this a little bit last week, but the whole issue of like how we're a little bit spoiled, like we're so blessed that this YouTube channel took off to the degree that it did and in the way that it did, because we could make the videos, and the art was the art of trying to make the right combination of the video itself, represented by the thumbnail and the title and the keyword laden description, and the whole art of crafting that just so, and you put it out there, and some of them are going to take off and some of them aren't, and some of them are going to be tens of millions of views, and some of them might only be 1 million views, and some of them might only be tens of thousands of views, and that whole game, right? We never had to make anything and then pound the pavement getting it seen. You know what I'm saying? Whereas now I feel like that's the challenge that we're up to. Now I've been joking around saying like now we got to work for a living to get this stuff seen because we want to go to this whole other level. And a big part of that is going to be to do with like leaving behind what's familiar and comfortable. You know what I'm saying? So even just me doing this live stream right now, like here I am going on and on and on, talking about myself to who? I don't know how many people watching right now. I don't even know, but I kind of don't even care. But it's not to say I don't care because I love that you're watching and I do this and it's so fun to hear from you. It's so fun to know you're watching. It's so fun to get your comments in the live chat, which we're going to check in with your comments briefly. Hold on a second. But at the same time, it's not about that. It's about me wanting to just like document everything about this epic journey that we're going on to try to do this epic project, to try to do the biggest thing we've ever done, to try to make our biggest, wildest dreams come true, right? And so to do it in a way that we can bring people along and show them how it happens and for us all to go back and look at later and see it step by step, how it came together. You know what I'm saying? Because my whole thing goes back to wanting to inspire other artists and being on this insane cuckoo trip about how artists are real life superpowers and your talent, your creativity. So it's artists are real life superheroes and your talent and creativity is your superpowers. And the rogues gallery is everything that's in life, like making you doubt yourself or thinking you don't have time or anything that stopped you from like getting to work on your grand vision right now. Those are the villains. And it's up to you as the hero to conquer those and get your art out there. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just like the fantasy world cuckoo bananas thing that I live with. And I'm just trying to live it out and be an example and inspire other artists. And if we can have some fun together while we're doing it, then all the better. So before I go on to the next topic, let's check out the live chat. I have left this a long time, but I'm going to scroll up a ways and see. Guys, did he already started? I think we were already at this one. Hey, Sean, can you do Batman and Robin 1997 watch along? That would be fun. James Trahan, I saw up above you, asked when we're going to do another Batman watch along. Well, we did Batman for the last one. The next one, I don't know if we should do Batman because, you know, we love Marvel, we love DC, we love all the superheroes. But we are getting near to the point where we need to pick what the next movie watch along is going to be. So everybody who's watching right now, do me a favor in Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're watching this, put in the comments, put in the chat what you want to see, suggest movies or even themes, because then we can vote around the themes. So if anybody who didn't hear about this before or you're new to the show, whatever, what we do, and we try to do it once a month, we're actually overdue for it this month, but what we try to do regularly is to have our movie watch along party where you can get your copy of the movie. I don't stream the movie for you. I don't want to get in trouble with the copyright robots. You know what I'm saying? But you get your copy of the movie. We sync it up and we watch it together. I've got to go into the live stream and y'all are talking to me in the chat. The last one that we did was 1989 Batman because Oliver, our man on the show here who's been playing Spider-Man forever, he's now playing the Robert Pattinson version of Batman. And until we did that live stream, he had never seen any Batman movie. So I had everybody vote on my show's Instagram story for what the Batman movie should be. I immediately was kind of hoping it would be The Dark Knight. But it does make sense, though, the Batman 1989 would be the one that would get picked. And it is poetic that it feels right, even though I maybe would have preferred to spend the time with The Dark Knight because it's just on a personal, subjective level. Objectively, I can't front. And Batman 1989 was the right call. And so what James is getting at here is it's almost time to do the next one of those. So suggest movies in the chat and let's get this going. Do it, everyone. It's worth it to get stuff and also see videos others won't. Become a member. Yo, you see this little symbol beside Beloved Benton's name right there? That's what's letting you know that she's a member. And in fact, shout outs to Beloved Benton and to Irish Lover 7745, the two people right now who are members on both YouTube and Patreon. Talk about putting your money where your mouth is. Unbelievable. So we are questing right now after our third Patreon supporter. Who is it? Who's it going to be? Could it be you? I would think that was awesome if it was. But yeah, because we're doing things so radically new and different with our upcoming season of work, we need your support now more than ever. So please support, become a Sean Wardian, click those buttons, get cool stuff in the mail, and help a young vagabond traveler bon vivant guy's art dream is coming true. No, I'm only joking. It actually is about, like, the community that we got around here, being a source of, I'm trying to be a blessing in people's lives, right? So to bring creative people together in here and to have the means and the resources to be able to give them employment and community and something fun to rally around, and making something together that is enjoyed by people all around the world, like, that's such a blessing to be able to do that. And if you want to make sure that those blessings continue, then I send all of my blessings to you, as I say thanks for that very, very much. All right, so scrolling down. Hey, Sean Man from Alley Playtube. What? Here he is himself, Irish lover. I agree. Joining the Sean Ward Show as a Sean Wardian has helped me lose 15 pounds. He's on the Sean Ward exercise plan. That's right. Bet you didn't even know about that. I'm not allowed to say, due to just basically regulations and how the approvals process goes. I couldn't tell you that if you become a Sean Wardian, you will lose weight and look sexier than you ever have. But I also ethically couldn't tell you that it won't. Keep hitting this microphone. I apologize. I just wanted to wink at you. But no, and seriously, you could do it. I wish I could be in a video. Well, I think you're very far away, ain't you? Also, it's a little tough to have people in here because of COVID stuff. Beloved Benta saying, I love the artworks. Yeah. No plan survives contact with the enemy. I would love to hear more about that, because Irish Lover 7745 has a background in the United States military. So again, I say it a lot. Thank you for your service. But that's it sounds like something I ought to print out and put on the wall in the studio and try to live by it. If it means what I think it means, and if I'm getting it right. Okay. One thing I like about you, Sean, is you prove the world that you don't need schooling to do the things you love. That's true. Though I will say, with the benefit of hindsight, I think what school does for the people who are wise enough and smart enough and on the ball to take advantage of the opportunity of time and getting in early, I think school can help the right people avoid costly mistakes in terms of trial and error. Like, I don't know, like, it's not that I regret anything, but then again, as I'm saying it now, I'm like, well, no, if I would have went to art college, I would not have had the freedom that I wanted in high school to pursue what I was on about. I would still be needing to, like, study what they want me to study and be building my portfolio the way they want me to build it, right? Because my whole thing with school was I was always just on my own. I've always had a lust for learning. I've always been doing my own private research and learning. So, like, I'd regularly go to the public library and taking out every single book that I can about independent magazine publishing, filmmaking, directors I admired, artists whose work I enjoyed, and just trying to funnel it all into my art. And the whole time that parents and aunts and uncles and teachers and all these different people were always telling me that, like, if you paid as much attention to your schoolwork as you do to, this garbage, pointing at my art and whatnot, you could do really well. And what I didn't have the wisdom as a kid to try to communicate was that, like, if you just leave me alone and let me do my thing, I'll prove to you. I'll let you know. I'll make sure that I do it. In fact, one of my biggest regrets, and regret is not something that I deal with a lot in life, but one of my biggest regrets, or at least curiosities, I should say, is that I always am wondering, like, I had the idea back in, like, the 11th to 12th grade to drop out of high school, or at least take a sabbatical and make my own comic book. And if I left school, then I would be under the gun to deliver the goods, like, fast, lest I prove everybody right that I'm just some bum, right? So I thought that if I took a break from school, made my comic book as fast as I could, and then went downtown and started selling it to strangers, I thought I could make a go of that way earlier than I did. And so there's always that little part of my curiosity that wonders, like, would I have given myself a year's head start on my art? And would I be even further ahead now? Or was it one of these things where it's like things work out exactly as they're supposed to? It would have been too early. I wouldn't have gotten the results. Who knows? You can't sweat about it too much. The past is the past. It's gone. And everything that's gone on between then and now is what led to us being together right now. So who could fault this, right? I get to spend this time with you, all of you here in the chats. From Dusk Till Dawn, Kill Bill, and Pulp Fiction, those are some terrific movies. My conjecture, I posit that Mr. Tarantino is the one director on the face of the planet who's never had a miss. Even though some of the stuff he's been involved with has not been as like commercially successful as some other stuff. Artistically, he's hit it out of the park every single time. And there's no other director, literally no other director you can say about that. Directors that are people's favorites. You're talking about the monsters, the giants. If you're talking about people like Stanley Kubrick, Martin Scorsese, these kind of people, they've all had ones that were just kind of like, you know what I mean? But Quentin Tarantino, every single one is, oh my God, did you see that? Oh my God, that was so awesome. You know what I mean? Even The Hateful Eight, which I don't particularly want to watch again, but I went and saw it in the theater and I loved it and it was terrific and I'm glad I saw it. All right, I see a name I recognize down there. Let's scroll down and see some more of these people. Oh, Ali Playtube, how you doing? I'm doing all the way terrific. Beloved Benton is suggesting we should watch the Avengers together. I might even lean more towards like Captain America, the Winter Soldier or something like that in light of, Bucky being the new Captain America. Oh, you know what? I should have done a watch along party the next week after Bucky and Falcon and Winter Soldier was over. Should have done a watch along party for Captain America, the Winter Soldier right after. But alas, what are you going to do? Superman 2, great suggestion. I haven't watched that in a long time. But when I was like a little kid, that was the movie. Like it was on like cable, specialty cable, like all the time. So I'm like a little toddler diaper wearing age kid. And when I was a little baby, like that little toddler age kid, I didn't have a blanket. I had a little Superman cape that I insisted get pinned around my neck, and I wore it everywhere. Like you'd see me at the mall and I had it draping out underneath my coat when we went out with the family. I never had no teddy bear. I never had no security blanket. Had my Superman cape everywhere I went. My man from Russia, Thomas Schoss, is asking, what do you think about WB and Discovery purchase case? And sorry for your English. For one, not a problem. I totally understand it. And this is an interesting topic. This is news that I think is breaking just today, that AT&T just wants to get out of Hollywood. Like they bought Time Warner, and now the word is that they want to sell off the media side of Time. So they have spun off, or they're about to spin off Warner Media as a separate company, and then they're going to sell 30-something% of that to Discovery. And Thomas, what I heard just today, and a pundit who I watch on YouTube was saying that the plan looks like it's going to be for Comcast to spin NBC Universal off as its own company, and then have that company, NBC Universal, merge with whatever is this Warner Media / Discovery merger thing. And then they will be one big giant media empire. And so that way you basically merge all of their streaming services together. And then what is it? HBO Max, Discovery Plus, and CBS All Access, I think. No, that's not the Peacock. That's the one that those three services would all get their contents merged into one service. And that's the best that they can hope for in terms of being able to go head to head with the Disneys and the Netflixes of the world. Let's see. Jenna Eveld is in the place. My vote for Batman and Harley Quinn for the watch along because it's funny and I own a copy. Jenna, are you talking? Is that an animated film? Because we've never done one of those. Oh, you know what? I was just saying I should do a watch along party for the Long Halloween because I haven't seen it yet. But then I'm like, wait a minute. The fact that I haven't seen it yet means I actually want to watch it instead of do a watch along party for it. So it's tough. But that is a good suggestion. That would be awesome. Have you watched The Bad Batch, the new Star Wars show? I have not. Is it worth watching? Should I check it out? I haven't yet. Let's see. Oh, yes. I graduated university last year as an early childhood educator. It's just great to see others find different ways to do what they love. I appreciate you. That's awesome. And yes, it's animated. All right. Fantastic. Now let's step away from the comments for a moment and get back into some topics like the next 4 videos we're doing here on the Sean Ward Show. So we have had the production side of our studio here dark for a few weeks. It sounds weird to say that that I have taken a break because obviously you've been seeing me here. We've been putting out videos, but I needed to take a break from the video, the main kind of main kind of videos that we do. Well, mostly because I haven't had really much of a break since this channel's been rocking and I've been like running it as a full-time thing. I've just been running it and running it and running it and running it. And the closest I come to a break is like if I go to Comic-Con and shoot 5 videos worth of material, maybe there's 2 weeks after the Comic-Con that I don't need to shoot anything because I've got the Comic-Con content, but that's about it. And even then I'm working on other stuff. I'm shooting other videos. So now we haven't got the team together in a little while because I was, to be totally honest and completely frank, I was kind of burned out and sick to death on any kind of videos where it's us hurrying at the last minute to whip something together that ends up not being all that great anyway. I was so sick to death of doing videos like that. And I was also feeling like it was holding us back. Like there's cool videos that we've had the idea to do for a while, but because they take a lot more planning and production, they keep getting kicked down the road. We have to put them aside because we're too busy working on the thing that we have to do right now to keep the videos up. So for the last 2-3 weeks, we've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes. Like for one, I've been working like a dog on this, the Snyder Cut, the movie animation project, but also working on new videos for the Sean Ward show that are going to be a cut above and raise the bar for us and for you and for everybody. So one that we're getting very near to shoot, the script is dynamite. Props to Trey, Trigger Trey, Ice Trey, because he's so cold. Props to Trey. He wrote a script for a Wanda versus Harry Potter video. He wrote it immediately after WandaVision ended. And it's a terrific script. I'm so excited to produce it. And that's probably going to be the next one that we make next week. So that's one, is the Wanda versus Harry Potter. And that's going to be like the humor will be our usual style, but we're raising the bar on our special effects in a big way. So we have taken a lot more care, not just with the script, but with making sure that everything is, because trying to talk in like 3 or 4 different directions at once. Here's the scoop. When we get together to make a videos, a lot of the times we've got the script and there's like some basic notations about who moves in to frame and shit like that. But like all of the finding backgrounds and whatnot, we worry about that later. Like so much of it is like the lights are just like make it super bright from all directions and this kind of thing. And so a lot of it is like what comes together after we've already shot it. And so I think that also might be introducing a little bit too much of like the luck and the chance element, like too much areas for it to, so much possibilities to go wrong. Whereas if we planned it a little better in the beginning, it removes that element of chance. So when you have that element of chance, I think for the longest time, since I've been doing this channel, part of the thrill is when you leave all of that randomness and chance open and it comes together and it's really good. And when it does really well, like that is just so satisfying. And it just feels like the universe rallied around the cause and really, guided you to the promised land kind of feeling. But when it doesn't come together, it's the despair of, look, why did I even waste my time? So that's why we want to take a little bit more care with the pre-production and just try something new. Because, the pandemic lockdown sort of ruined our plans for 2020, like I said, or just ruined our plans for what we thought were going to be the next things that we're doing to raise the game and elevate what we're doing. But all those went by the wayside. So we had to cook up some new ideas, and it includes stuff like these videos that we're talking about. So the Wanda and Harry Potter is one. The second one is a fight video. So there's a stunt team here in Toronto called Chimera X. And so this is a stunt design team. These guys do stunts for movies. They're on set all the time. The guy who runs the team has been in movies like 300 and Kingsman and all this kind of stuff. So we have a fight video that's going to take place in our studio. It's going to be a new style of video where it's us and we're playing ourselves, and we come in and the stunt team is using our studio. So it's a whole big thing of like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing here? And then it gets into this whole brawl between, it's like a 3-on-3 battle. And we keep on using costume bits and using superpowers on each other and all this kind of stuff. And then I was about to tell you the ending. I won't tell you the ending, but suffice it to say that I'll just tell you that the fighting continues right up to the end, even though we maybe work out our differences, but the fighting still goes on. I'll let you see when that comes out. That's 2. The third one is I've had this idea for this thing called the Not So Sinister Six for a long time. And I thought it would be funny to just come up with like some lame superheroes who could be this team as the Not So Sinister Six, and they could face off against Spider-Man. And instead of feeling threatened by them, he laughs at them and this kind of thing. And as this idea has gone on, what it's developed into is me thinking that, well, first of all, I felt like the members of this team, I would base them on kind of some of the running jokes around the office here. So catchphrases that we have, and goofy ideas for characters that we've had that weren't supposed to be anything. But then I kind of went, oh, wait a minute, that's a good idea. So it's these 6 characters that are all based on inside jokes from this studio. But then I realized that if we do that, and we're going to go to the trouble of making new costumes for these characters, what we then end up with is a roster of original characters that we can do things with. Like if we make a YouTube video, right? Like on this channel already, right? We've got this video, the Spider-Verse Flash Mob video, and it's got 700 million views. Some of the biggest, most popular, most instantly recognizable videos on all of YouTube. And this video that I made is bigger than a lot of them, right? But how can we capitalize on the success of a video like that? Because what people are watching it for is Spider-Man, right? If we can't come out with a Spider-Man t-shirt like us doing the video, well, that's parody, that's fair use, right? So if we want to spin off something from the video to kind of turn into a t-shirt or something like that, oh, we can't use Spider-Man because that's now you're selling a t-shirt, that's different, right? This kind of thing. So I realized that this sort of like fulfills that dream of having characters that are ours that we can do original things with. And so I said it last week that like, once you start seeing these original characters coming out, once I see you guys shouting out the new characters in the comments, it's go mode. It's go for me. Like that's just time to like double, triple, quadruple down on those characters and build out this whole other kind of cartoon world of these original superhero characters that we can enjoy together and create new stories for you and put them up against all your favorite Marvel and DC characters for parody videos and all this kind of stuff. So the one character I'll tell you about right now, because we're going to be using him first. Yeah, that's the other thing. The last thing to wrap this up is I had the idea to do the Not So Sinister Six, but then I thought, well, wait a second. What if we introduce them 1 by 1 or 2 by 2, have them slowly start to get to know each other, do it like Marvel Cinematic Universe style. So when we bring them all together for the 6 of them, now it's like the Avengers movie where they all finally team up, right? And so that's what we're working on right now. So the first video that we do in that series is going to be the one where Spider-Man faces off against many Spiders-Man. So Spider-Man, one spider. Many Spiders-Man, many spiders. Obviously, he's better, right? So it's going to be subtle differences. Like Spider-Man swings from his webs. Many Spiders-Man shoots his web and runs across it like a tightrope. Just little things like that. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to ruin the spoilers for you, but that's video number 3 in that series we're working on. And then video number 4 is the next in the series of the Sean Ward Electric Comics Freakout. So let me share something with you here real quick. This right here, what you're looking at, is my website, theSeanWardShow.com. And I did this all myself. And this is all actual, like my actual handwriting all over this website. And I spent a long time making this website awesome. Haven't had a cool website for a long time until I finally put this one together. Got a burst of inspiration, and now here it is. Now, if I click this right here where it says how I got my first 1 million views on YouTube, if I click on that, it takes me to over here where this right here is, okay, so the video that I made that you can watch on the YouTube channel, where I'm telling you the story of how I got my first 1 million views on YouTube and the weekend that all happened, but I'm showing it to you in my unique art style. So these are snippets from the video and also art that I made for the video that I wanted to arrange as a comic strip. And then I could continue to do a series of these where I've taken episodes of interesting things that have happened in my life and in my career, dramatize them as comics and cartoons like I used to with the old comics I used to make, and then put the comic strip version of it on the website while the video version of it is on the YouTube channel. And then eventually, after there's been a whole bunch of them, I can put out a book where we collect them all up. So this was the first one that I did. The title was How I Got My First 1 Million Views on YouTube. And I'm super proud of it. I'm so happy with this video. It did really, really great. And if you check it out on the website, you can see right here at the end. sign up for my email newsletter, and I'll send you a sticker. But so it's time to do the next one of those, right? So I'll have to add to myself to the stream again. I hope I didn't cut out my mic there just now. So as I was saying, this is the part now where you can vote. Oh, did I not make a thing for it? Oh yeah, Sean Wardians comments freak out. So these are the next topics that I want to cover, and now you get to vote. You can let me know in a comment below or message me or whatever. I've got 2 ideas for the next one of these comics styled videos that I want to tackle. The first one is called The 90s Origins of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I had this idea just this past weekend. This is when inspiration struck, because like I said, I'm studying Quentin Tarantino, right? And it occurred to me that Quentin Tarantino and Kevin Smith, the way that they both built their own like low budget movie universe, Tarantino still living in it. Even a movie like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is still taking place in that alternate universe that he made up, using the same consumer products, referencing some of the same people. And you have Kevin Smith, who's been making movies set in his View Askew universe for decades. I thought that it would be fun to apply my art style to the Tarantino and Kevin Smith universes and go over those interconnected universes and how I feel like the fan community around those movies sort of set the template for what Marvel was able to do with an interconnected movie universe later. And then my other idea for an episode of the Sean Ward Electro Comics Freak Out would be titled The Summer the Dark Knight Came Out. And that is one where I tell you about that bonkers, insane summer of 2008 when The Dark Knight was coming out, and it was the best movie marketing there's ever been. And it's a shame that no one has ever tried to do anything as creative or imaginative since. I don't know if you were there for it, or if you were, I don't know if you were paying attention, but we're taking it back to how like they had people do the Joker makeup on their face and do this elaborate weeks-long scavenger hunt in multiple cities around the globe. And you had to do the scavenger hunt, and it led you, by the time it was finished, it all led you to whatever the local theater is in that city, where you're able to go in and see a special presentation. And then what it ended up being was the first trailer for The Dark Knight. And that was bonkers. And then they unveiled that they had built the entire like Gotham City online. So there was a website for the Gotham City police, for the Gotham City pizza place, for the donut shop, for the newspaper, for all these local business, florists, and all this kind of stuff. And over multiple weeks, remember how in the movie there was that like news show where the guy was interviewing different people throughout the movie, and the guy who said that he knew who Batman was went on that guy's show, Gotham Tonight, right? That Gotham Tonight show. So if you remember, they did 5 weekly episodes of Gotham Tonight on the internet leading up to the movie coming out that basically followed Harvey Dent's campaign running for district attorney and winning that election. That all played out online as like setup for the movie. So it's not to say that you're going to like miss anything if you didn't see it and go see the movie, but it's definitely going to add to the experience, right? And then there came a point where, like, I don't know, a week out from the movie, maybe 2 weeks out from the movie, but at one point before the movie was coming out, they had the Joker deface all of it. So what you used to go and click on all those different websites, all of a sudden now it's like all of Gotham City has been hacked by the Joker. And all these different creative ways that they were getting the word out about the movie and doing interesting things online for you to follow and get behind and root for and dig into and whatnot. But then just the cuckoo bananas level where it's like, I had been in a Comic-Con, and this might be it too. Maybe I've just got rose-colored glasses on about this epic weekend, but I'd gone on a road trip to Chicago to go down to a Comic-Con down there. And on the way back, as we're getting back to Toronto, while we're driving back in, we keep seeing from the highway, there's a plane that has this big, giant Dark Knight banner flag, like hanging out the back of it. And it's just flying circles around the city. Like they were just like, I've never seen them ever push a movie that hard. And just how insane it was that summer, being a Batman fan and being someone who like lives by these movies coming out. Like it was just so epic. And it'd be a fun artistic challenge to try to figure out how to convey that in one of these animated things. So which one of those do you want to see? Let me know. Have your voice heard in the comments here on either YouTube or Facebook, wherever you're watching this. You can put a comment. Let me know which one of those sounds more interesting to you. Which should be my next episode of the Sean Ward Electric Comics Freakout? Should it be the 90s origins of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or should it be the summer the Dark Knight came out? And speaking of comments, I'm going to pop over to the comments and let's see what's going on. Oh, I got to scroll up a little bit. We got some cool comments coming in. Who's your favorite Spider-Man? Mine's Tobey Maguire. Andrew, mine is Tom Holland, the new guy. I love it. Spider-Man Homecoming is just like, that movie feels like it did when I was like 10, at watching Michael Keaton Batman on VHS and not having any idea beyond that this movie was made, like they made it for me, like personally. Like that's what Spider-Man Homecoming felt like to me. Like just my inner kid just got let out loose. And he's still running circles around the place now, loving that movie. I've watched it so many times for years, and even to the present day. That's my like movie that I typically put on when I'm on a plane, because this can have it. I know it well enough that I can kind of zone in, zone out, maybe play a game on my phone at the same time. I've just seen that movie so many times. Ali Playtube, yes, you should. Sorry, I've talked about so many things, so maybe you could tell me what I should do. Anyone seen the Snake Eyes trailer? Darn it, no. I wanted to watch it before today's broadcast, but I did not have a chance because I was getting so much ready for this whole Snyder Cut the movie art thing. But let me know what you thought of it. Put a comment in the chats and let's get that going. Indiana Jones and the Last Call at the Pub. We should do that as a video, not even as a movie or an animated thing. I should play Indiana Jones and we should do that. That'd be hilarious. Punctuation Patriot and Spelling Bee. Not far off, bro. We got a couple of characters. Like think of like a Batman and Robin situation, except it's Super Party and Shot Girl. And so Super Party, his superpower is that he can go anywhere where the vibe is not hot. He can go in there and get the party going. That's his superpower. And his sidekick is Shot Girl, who's the world's most expert mixologist. And she's got these two giant cannon-looking guns that shoot liquid. And her utility belt has little like vials of liquids all in it. And she's the world's most expert mixologist who has just the right taste for any occasion. To anything that's going wrong, she'll save it with the right drink. So you're not that far off with that punctuation period thing. Yeah, many spiders, man. Thanks, Jenna Eveld. So you can watch for that video coming very soon. And hey, do what Jenna did. Would you? I signed up for the email newsletter. You should also go to my website, theshawnwardshow.com, and you also could sign up for my email newsletter. Like if I go over here and if I scroll down far enough, it will on your end. I've already done it and click the X so it won't come up again. But like you get halfway down the page, there will be a pop-up that encourages you to sign up for the newsletter. Do that. Do that, and you will never, ever miss a new video coming out. You'll be the first to find out about it when I put out a new video or do something cool, and that will be cool. So thanks, Jenna. That's awesome. Jay and Silent Bob. Yeah, you know what's up. Let's see. Glad that you grow in your art production projects. Subscribed on your channel for 9 years. Woo! Oh, man. See, that's the thing is like this whole YouTube journey from 2012 when I had my first viral million views hit up to now feels like it was maybe a couple of years. Like the time that I worked on a cruise ship for 4 months feels in my head like a longer time than my entire YouTube career, which is in its 9th year right now. So yeah, it's just bonkers how time plays tricks on you. And yeah, it's weird. Okay. As a 90s kid, I'd have to vote for the 90s MCU origins. I also think that'd be good because I think I could do it quicker. It would take less planning, less thinking in the writing stage. And also it would just be fun to have a go at just drawing those characters. I mean, in theory, I could do a little booklet. Once I've done all the art for that video, then I could maybe do a booklet that's like maybe even half the size of this one, a little collector's booklet that's like the Tarantino verse, and it's just my drawing of all the different Tarantino stuff, or the Kevin Smith Universe, and you just flip through and it's my little drawings of all that stuff. Yeah, and then I could put it on the website and send it out to members and VIPs, but to the public, it's like on the website for $10. And you're seeing me come up with the idea for all of this right now. Very exciting stuff. The Blu-ray has a secret code to turn it into Joker mode. What? Is it any particular version of the Blu-ray? Because the version that I have, I think if I've got it right, I've got like the multi-movie collection. Is that one that I have 2 copies of? Yeah, I think I've got like the multi-movie collection, and then I've also got like the Steelbook Blu-ray. But yeah, I want to know what the secret code is, because this movie is 13 years old and I'm still finding out still got a layer that like you can just never stop peeling an onion that you never stop peeling new layers. You should watch Bad Batch. There's 2 episodes and tomorrow comes another episode on Disney Plus. The problem is that I've got so much that I'm working on all the time that having time to watch a show is extremely limited, especially when you factor in that I have to leave the studio to then go home and like spend time with my little baby. And we don't really let her watch TV because she's still, she's not quite 2 yet. And we don't want to do that thing where we just put the TV on with the TV babysitter, right? So that's a lot of time to be directly involved with the kid. And by the time it's, I can actually have a show to watch, it's like whatever I can watch while in my VR headset while I'm exercising is basically what I can do. And if it's the end of the night and I'm just like spent and I'm laying on the couch, I'm going to go to bed in half an hour and I'm just watching something to like zone out. It's usually Bar Rescue these days. I love that show. I'll do a bar. I should do a movie where I play a young John Taher and it'll be like an origin story of how he started doing Bar Rescue, except that it's like an action caper. Bar Rescue, the movie. Ben McCord in the house. First of all, haven't seen your name in here, I feel like, in a little while. So welcome back to the show, Ben McCord. Thanks, homie. And he says, remember that time you went out to document the G7 protests and got kettled in? Oh my God, dude. Yeah. So for all you viewers out there, what Ben is referring to is before all of this like YouTube superhero stuff, before I did that Batman video that I talk about in my how I got my first 1 million views on YouTube video. So the Batman video that I made here, I'll point here so you can actually see me properly. The Batman video that I made that I'm talking about in this video, the one that got my first 1 million views on YouTube. Before that video, my biggest claim to fame in the video realm on YouTube was I had gone out here in Toronto when the G7 stuff was going on and there was G7 protests happening every night. And, like cars were getting smashed up and police were like rounding people up and taking them away and whatnot. And I went out in the middle of the night to sort of document how nuts it was getting out there. And I ended up kind of in the middle where cops over here and cops over here and nobody's getting out either way. And I just hoped that if I just kept the camera rolling and stayed away from like any of the troublemaking people, that I won't get swallowed up by the cops. Or even if I did, even better content. But yeah, dude, I haven't looked at that video in a long time, but I think that video got up to like 3,000 views. And that's why when I made that Batman video that I'm talking about in this video, yeah. Hello, there we go. Okay. Technical difficulties. Speaking of which, we don't want that screen to glitch out up there. Okay, so as I was saying, the before this video, my the 3,000 views that I got on that video from the G7 protests, that video, because we got 3,000 views, when we're making this Batman video, that's when I was saying to my collaborator, like, dude, imagine if we got like 5,000 views. Imagine how that would change our lives if this video got 5,000 views. And then as luck would have it, it did 5,000 views in like an hour or two, and then went on to do 1 million views later that week. You want to hear that story? It's a crazy story. Watch that video right there, and you can know all the inside scoop. Back into the chats right here. I would love to see a video of how the Avengers or other characters would look if they were stuck in Westview. Oh, that would be interesting. That'd be cool. Maybe that'd be an art project more than a video. I know that's silly since it's been a while since WandaVision. Well, hey, we're about to do Wanda versus Harry Potter, so whatever. Just look for the code on YouTube. Oh, okay, I'll do that. And hopefully I'll be able to report back that I did it and saw what it's all about. And she says, I started watching back when PS3 was still the latest PlayStation. Jenna, are you talking about watching this show, like this, my YouTube channel? because that would mean that you've been with us for an awfully, awfully long time. And the last comment of the day is going to Sarah Aldu Kyle. I hope I said that right. Who just says hi. Hi to you. Well, it is now 5:05 in the Eastern time zone, and I have got to get, okay, I lied. I'm going to give Jenna, who now I think this is week 4 in a row, Jenna, that you've been on the show. So thank you very much for being a participant and getting involved in the show and leaving comments all the time. Yeah, it's time to wrap up. It's time for me to get home and watch my little baby. So for everybody who's still watching, we're going to be switching pretty soon to a 7 p.m., maybe even 8, but an evening. We're going to be changing this to the evening because daytime right now, it's like fun and whatever, but evening is when it could really be something cool because everybody's like, right now, it's like the only way you can watch this is if you didn't go to work today or you're listening to it on your way home from work or like something like that, right? I think more people would be able to enjoy it and there'd be a much more relaxed vibe about it if it was like later in the evening. And plus, then it could be longer. We could sit here and do chats. I could be answering comments for all night if you want. Like, that would be fun. But as it is right now, the show the beta test version of the show is at 4:00. And then I got to be out of here by about 5. So it's usually an hour-long show. So pretty soon it's going to be moving to the evening and it's going to be 2 or 3 hours at a time instead. And that'll be what we do as part of my weekly ritual is to hang out with you guys on Monday nights. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking really forward to making that change. Oh my God, excuse me. And until then, yes, as Irish Lover said, tune in next time. Same bat time, same Sean time, same Sean channel. This is me doing the Sean Tusi as I say so long. Okay, goodbye, everybody. I love you. I miss you. Till we meet again. All right, see you next week.